Fortnite Competitive is one of the hardest esports in all of gaming due to its infinitely high skill ceiling. Despite that, it is one of the most popular esports from a player perspective, with millions of players grinding every day to try and make it. However, there has been a growing sentiment over the years that it is too late to make it, and this has been a hot debate in the community. But now more than ever, it has become apparent that it really is too late to try and make a career out of Fortnite. Even putting all the unalterable factors such as genetics and geographic location aside, no amount of hard work will ever make you go pro for 3 specific reasons. If your sole reason for grinding Fortnite is to try and make a career out of it and you're miserable doing so, then hear me out. The first reason why going pro in Fortnite nowadays is unviable is, to put it generally, the insane rise in the skill ceiling over the years. To start, let's discuss the individual skills that make up a good player. In Fortnite, the primary skills are aim, mechanics, and game sense. Being a well-rounded player is the most important thing to your success, but it is now a non-negotiable when it comes to being a pro player in the modern day. You see, back in the earlier years of competitive, if you mastered one of these skills but were maybe lacking in the others, you still had a good path to pro. Fortnite competitive simply wasn't as complex back then as it is today. There are simply no more hard IGLs or hard fraggers anymore. Take Peterbot for example. When he first jumped from console to PC, he was unknown in the community. While his game sense wasn't the best and he didn't have much experience in competitive, his aim and mechanics were top tier for the time. This ultimately led to Peterbot being picked up by P-God and later Macwood. These players would teach Peterbot how to play the game, and while they never placed insanely high together in FNCS, Peterbot no doubt grew as a player. Because of this, Peterbot was able to get into the highest levels of practice with other pros and eventually start IGLing himself after he had learned to master game sense. This ultimately led him to winning the Chapter 3 Season 2 FNCS in a dominant fashion. In just a span of about a year, Peterbot went from a nobody kid with insane mechanics to an FNCS winner, all because of his generational fragging ability. The same is true for more game sense oriented players who are less mechanical too. Back a few years, these players could easily just pick up 2 insane fighters and do very well, such as the case with Reverse 2K and Cease. But nowadays, only knowing how to IGL and not having much to show in the mechanics department doesn't get you very far. Very few pros these days fulfill such a role of a less mechanical IGL, with examples such as SETI and Cease, but even then, these people are really only pros because they are established players. The standards for being a pro these days are simply much higher than they ever were in the past. You need good mechanics, and you need to know how to build fast and efficiently in order to tarp. You need good aim in order to maximize your fights and get surge damage, and you need great game sense to know how to position for surge in end games. All the best players in the game right now, such as Peterbot, Rapid, and Flixie, can do all of that and more. But then, why not just grind out any weaknesses, you may ask? If I have weak game sense and can't play for Surge, why can't I just play scrims and learn? Well, that gets into the second issue with trying to go pro in Fortnite. Just like how 99% of my viewers not being subscribed is a huge issue as well. But fortunately, this one can be fixed by hitting that subscribe button and liking the video if you so wish. The next issue with trying to go pro in Fortnite in this late era is gatekeeping. Now, gatekeeping has always been an issue in Fortnite. Even in the earliest days of competitive, it was well known that top NA pros such as Zate, who were high up in the practice scene, ran scrim discords with an iron fist and weren't afraid to ban those they didn't like. And the pros they didn't like were not banned in those scrim discords. They would simply take the griefing the up-and-coming player just to make their time playing miserable. But even in those instances, the up-and-coming player could come out on top and prosper if their mechanics were good enough. Players such as Unknown Army and Bully would prove this, being banned from NA Prac early on, only to make a career later on just through sheer mechanical skill alone. But as stated earlier, Fortnite has evolved so much to the point where being well-rounded is essential to doing well. But the only way to become well-rounded is by having access to scrims so you can actually learn how to play lobbies with high search thresholds. It's a paradoxical situation. Additionally, even if you do somehow prove yourself as a strict one-trick player, there is the issue of finding teammates. Professional players are a very closed-off social circle, and they typically only play with people within their pro circle. Very rarely do professional players duo with up-and-comers, and when they do, it is usually when they are at the tail end of their careers, such as the case of Paper and Victor V. And this isn't just speculation either, as pro players themselves have expressed this sentiment, such as Vino.
New players coming up are coming to tier 1 or a dime a dozen. It's okay, we have Chap, right? But then
you could make them though. I think there'd be more if you guys picked them up though. I think there'd be more if you gave them a chance.
Yeah, but we don't want them. We don't want more good players. We're gonna keep trying the combinations. Okay, all right. Well, I'll go and play with City next season. Like,
no, I get why
it's gate to fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gate to fuck. Because you are essentially betting on the unknown.
Professional players aren't going to risk their status to bank on an unknown player. Your status as a pro, or aura in simpler terms, is the most important aspect of doing well. Being able to lock down drop spots in tournaments and condition your region to respect you is how most pros play these days.
No matter, like, they can come at me, bro. It's free off spawn fights. They can come con me, bro. It's fine. I obviously care. I want to be uncon. But if someone cons me, I swear to God, I will do everything in my... I will prepare more to be contested than uncontested. I will make fucking sure they get dead last.
And this gatekeeping mentality among pros translates directly into Fortnite's scrim practice as well. On paper, these scrims are open to all and anyone can rank up, but in reality, the odds are heavily stacked against you if you are an up-and-comer. A lot of people that contest or W-key established pros in scrims end up getting banned, and that's even if they make it to the higher echelons of practice, as there are no shortage of people who get banned from the lower levels of practice for ridiculous reasons. And unfortunately, Epic Games haven't done much themselves to remedy this issue, as all of their competitive playlist offerings are subpar for newer players, which gets into the third reason. The official playlist offerings in Fortnite simply don't serve the needs of up-and-coming players to try and make a name for themselves. Ranked mode is a complete joke and has been ever since its creation. No incentives, poor matchmaking, loot pool disparity, and much more. Ranked mode simply doesn't do its job, functioning as a way for players to better their skills in a readily available playlist, and this is why, despite being such an open esport on paper, Fortnite really isn't that much more meritocratic than other esports. Because Fortnite ranked is a joke, the only viable method for players to prove their skills are tournaments, but even this avenue proves fruitless for many up-and-comers. The tournaments hosted in Fortnite are usually cash cups and FNCS. Cash cups for modes such as Reload, Zero Build, and Skin Cups can automatically be excluded as those are filled with hackers and casual players. FNCS for most players isn't a viable avenue to improve, as for the past few years it has only been hosted in team game modes, meaning you have to go through the trouble of finding a good teammate. And as established earlier, pro players aren't going to want anything to do with you, so this leaves Cash Cups as the only solo tournament playlist hosted in the regular build mode. One problem though, the Victory Cup format. Epic Games themselves knew that making earnings for the average competitive player was a far-fetched idea, so they devised a genius system to split the Cash Cup prize pool as widely as possible, giving you 3 games to play, with a win bagging you $100. While this has helped plenty of players make their first earnings, they aren't really getting better since Victory Cups play way differently than actual tournaments. It's a paradox. Up-and-comers think that they are getting better at the game because they are making earnings, and therefore sink all of their time into grinding Victory Cups that are doing nothing to help them improve, and Epic Games seems content with this system, as player participation is at an all-time high, despite Victory Cups not even costing them much more than regular Cash Cups to host. And this is the sad reality of trying to make a career out of Fortnite as it stands now. The skill gap has increased drastically, demanding you be a well-rounded player. No longer can someone with only insane fragging ability be good, and because scrim practice is heavily gate-kept, those same players can't get viable practice to better their gameplay. Finally, to put the nail in the coffin, Epic's own ranked mode in tournaments don't offer a viable alternative to these scrims, leaving up-and-coming players stuck. And this isn't even taking external factors into play either, such as age, responsibilities, and location. If you are above the age of 18, chances are you are preoccupied with a job, college work, or a combination of the two. You simply can't dedicate the hours to strictly practicing Fortnite as a high school kid can. Location is also a big factor to this as well. If you are unfortunate enough to live somewhere far away from the game servers, your chances of making it go down drastically. So overall, becoming a professional player is not something you should strive for if it is simply to make a career out of it. If your only goal is to make gaming a career and nothing else, then all you do is ruin your mental health and waste a bunch of time trying to do so. However, if your life is stable and you just play tournaments to have fun, then keep doing what you enjoy. The lesson here, don't turn your hobbies into work. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see similar content, then like, subscribe, follow my socials, and check out the video on your screen now.